We have a major John Tavares trade update as reporter Pierre LeBrun has come out and revealed the truth about a potential John Tavares trade out of Toronto and revealed whether or not the Leafs are actively shopping the center. So I'm going to break that down in this episode, as well as some big changes that could be coming to the Toronto Maple Leafs as Friedman dropped a bomb revealing who the coaching staff could end up being. And we have one notable former head coach who is going to be joining the Leafs coaching staff. So I want to stay tuned for all that in this episode. Before we do, if you're part of the 81% who are not subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It would mean the world to Darius and myself as we approach 11,000 subscribers. And yeah, thank you guys for your continued support. It means the world to Darius and myself. But a lot to go over today, Darius, and we're actually going to start with the changes that are coming from the coaching staff side. If you checked out our live stream yesterday, you would have probably seen some of this, but it's pretty breaking news here. And Elliot Friedman as well. We have some quotes. There's a lot to get into, but let's start with this. So, like we'll get into in a little bit, Lane Lambert is going to be joining the Toronto Maple Leafs coaching staff, Darius. With Lane Lambert, it's just a matter of the Leafs making an announcement, according to Elliot Friedman. He's obviously the former Islanders head coach. This is very, very interesting. Now, it's looking like he's going to be in an associate coach role. An associate coach is a level higher than the assistant coach and usually comes with some head coach responsibilities as well. And we also know that Mike Van Ryn is expected to be back behind the bench on Craig Berube's coaching staff, and we don't know whether or not Guy Boucher is going to be returning as of right now. And we have some quotes to show you regarding Lane Lambert. But let's get your thoughts on this. It's looking like Lane Lambert is going to be joining Craig Berube. There was rumors the whole time that a former head coach would be joining his staff. We thought it was maybe Tom McClellan. It's ultimately going to be Lane Lambert, according to Freeman last night. And this announcement should come very, very soon.
Yeah, it's starting to make sense. The Leafs were rumored to have a former head coach coming in to be an assistant with Berube. It's not exactly an assistant role. It's an associate role, which the Leafs, people have been talking about yesterday, have never had. It's a little bit of a different role, and I kind of like it for Lane Lambert. Of course, he wouldn't have been my first choice personally, but I don't even think he'll be on the bench. He might be on the bench. I don't know what this looks like for the Leafs, but I think it's going to be more almost like he's the head coach's assistant in a way, right? Which is exactly what an assistant coach is, but I think more tailored towards working with the defense and the offense. And we have some great stuff on, how he manages his PK and why it's good in former players touching on that. So that'll be fun to look at too. But yeah, I think it'll be an interesting change. I'm glad the Leafs are making any changes at all. Like they need change, which is great. But it's going to be interesting now with who fills out the other assistant role. Could it be Mark Savard, which we were talking about, and Mike Van Ryn returning? I'm a fan of that. I thought the defense was very good, considering who was, the personnel on the team last year. So I'm open to that, staying the same.
Yeah, a lot of exciting stuff there. And again, Elliot Friedman, only a matter of time before Lane Lambert joins the coaching staff, which kind of came out was pretty interesting news. Now, we'll go over some of the things, and if you're unfamiliar with Lane Lambert, he kind of, this article, this little tidbit of info should help. So, Lane Lambert's approach to the penalty kill is that while researching his last team's penalty kills, or his past teams, Lambert's aggressive philosophy has really stood out. And Jay Beagle spoke about the approach to the Capitals penalty kill and said, quote, in the past with different coaches, when one guy's pushing or pressing hard, not everyone goes so they can relive that pressure. With Lane Lambert, he likes us when one guy's going and you feel that pressure moment, four-man unit. So he's getting some praise here, Darius. Do you have any thoughts on this? This is good. Again, change is the most important thing here. The Leafs haven't had change for a while. I wouldn't suspect Guy Boucher to be back, but for a penalty kill that could definitely use some improvement on the Maple Leafs end, Lane Lambert could be that guy. I think he's going to end up filling in very, very nicely. Maybe not fit for a head coach role at this point, but associate coach or assistant coach, whatever he ends up being, it could fit well for him.
And that piece and tidbit specifically was from Anthony Petrelli of Maple Leafs Hot Stove. So this is a very interesting piece and insight to look into what Lane Lambert might bring to the Leafs. I thought the Leafs penalty kill was terrible to end the year, especially in the playoffs. Not terrible, but it certainly wasn't great and not timely. They were allowing very untimely goals. And I feel like they just don't pressure at all. Pressure is not in the Leafs vocabulary the last couple of years, especially on the penalty kill. And this is going to be a really welcome change. You see a lot more teams doing it now. The Bruins were definitely doing it to the Leafs, and the Leafs had a very hard time reacting to it and changing anything. Might have been more of the Leafs' fault anyway, but going to more of a pressured style on the penalty kill. They've been very lax on the penalty kill, I think. So it's going to be a very welcome change and nice little insight into what Lane Lambert will bring, barring he's actually officially hired by the Leafs, because they're very close, but it hasn't officially been announced yet.
Yeah, and again, I'm good for any kind of change regarding this. Penalty kill playoffs was really bad. Regular season, it wasn't very great at all either. And again, you can pause this and read it if you're very interested. We spoke about the trigger moments, the puck is available, and just how Lambert's aggressive style to the PK could work for the Leafs. And they actually bring up the power play goal by the Bruins in the playoffs and kind of stood out how now with Lane Lambert that ideally wouldn't happen. So just overall a very interesting assumed hire, I guess we'll call it at this point, an assumed hire according to all these reporters. And then Mike Van Ryn as well, which you discussed in the past, makes total sense with the Brad Treliving connection, or the Craig Berube connection, sorry. Makes all the sense in the world. He'll be behind the bench, which is very, very good. So let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on these new moves. I'm happy about it, and I think I think Lane Lambert will be decent in his role. But Darius, let's move on now to John Tavares, and this came out from Pierre LeBrun. Quote, there have been no conversations about a potential trade between the Leafs and John Tavares. Even if there were, Tavares has no plans on waiving his full no-move clause. So we can put that to bed. Pierre LeBrun was very emphatic about this. John Tavares is not going to get traded. The Leafs are not shopping him, and even if the Leafs were shopping him, unlike Mitch Marner, John Tavares has absolutely no desire at this point to waive his no-move clause. Now, reports are coming out that Marner might not have a desire either, but we all knew this. Tavares is going to end up playing out this year. He might get, relegated to the third-line center. He might get relegated to a forward at some point. And now his salary is going to be decreased after next year, and he's going to re-sign and probably end his career in Toronto like he wanted to when he left the New York Islanders back in 2017, 2018. So makes all the sense in the world to me. Any thoughts on this, though? Shut it down. Trade rumors probably won't happen.
I'm still genuinely shocked how many people think Tavares should be moved or will be moved or putting him in mock trades. It's not going to happen. He's going to retire a Toronto Maple Leaf. He's not going to waive his no movement clause this year. Certainly not this year. We knew that the back 2 years of the 7-year deal were going to be horrendous as he continues to regress at his age now. We knew these things were going to happen. The Leafs were supposed to win by this point. It was supposed to be all nice and dandy, and who cares because we have a Stanley Cup. That's what the plan originally was. Obviously has not worked out that way at all. And you know what? Next year, he's going to come back on a much lower deal, much lower AAV. He's going to have a new role. Maybe he's a winger, maybe third line center, and he's going to be great in that role because he's still a very good NHL centerman. He really is. He's great on faceoffs. He's really good defensively still. He was taking on a lot of the defensive matchups in the Bruins series, which I thought he played well in. He's a different player now, and that's fine, right? He's still very good at the NHL level. It's just he makes too much right now, and he won't next year. He's going to end up retiring a Leaf. He's going to be a good Leaf until he decides to retire in whatever role he takes on because he's going to be making less and nobody's going to care about it really. So just stick through this year. We knew it was going to be bad till this point, but he's certainly not going anywhere this year. And I don't think he's going anywhere else for the rest of his career, honestly.
Seems like he's going to re-sign in Toronto as a Toronto Maple Leaf for the rest of his career, which will be which we all kind of expected. Now, if he requests a higher salary, I don't think the Leafs will give him that. They have other priorities to focus on. But I think at this point, Tavares has probably made enough in his career where he's like, okay, let's just end where he has his family, he's raising his kids, doing all this stuff with his wife and kids. So I think it makes all the sense in the world for him to stay, and that's ultimately what he will do. But it's a nice update to hear for John Tavares fans out there. Maybe if you want him traded, it's not the best update, but that'll wrap it up. Thank you guys for watching. Yeah, Tavares jersey. So Darius
I am a Tavares fan, so I'm happy about it. I do like him, but I know a lot of people have their opinions on that. So I think he'll be great in a new role with less salary.
Yeah, and a lesser third line center and potentially forward. So let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on all of this. Shout out to Darius for being a Tavares fan. He's a happy guy today. If you want to check out a video from yesterday, click on your screen now. See you later.